It is officially 2025, guys, and we are into the second half of the season. Welcome to Fantasy Football G. I'm your host, Kat, and we're going to be taking a look at Game Week 20, transfer targets. And what I've done is basically we're going to start off by looking at what are the best fixtures, so we know that we're picking our targets for a good long term as well, and also with good rotations. And then we are also going to look at who are the hardest transfers in and out, and then we're going to take one last look at a wild card I've put together for you guys, just summarizing those assets that are best to pick for Game Week 20 and going forward. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, guys. I'm excited. So let's get into this. So starting off with the fixture ticker from Fantasy Football Hub, they still got their 30-day free trial Christmas deal on. Please go grab that in the link in the description. You can get that for 30% off as well. So at the end of the free trial, if you are not happy, then you can, of course, just not go through with the subscription. If you are happy, then you can get 30% off as well. So grab the link in the description. It's all there for you. Cool. So looking at the fixture ticker here, we've got Liverpool at the top along with Everton, and that because as much as you see that you got a double game week in 24-25, those are just Fantasy Football Hub predicting where the actual double game week may be. And right now, a lot of people are leaning towards it being in game week 25, remembering that the assistant manager chip will actually be active from game week 24. So I think this fixture ticker is taking that into consideration as well, and that's why I think they're both at the top there, followed by Aston Villa, Fulham, Crystal Palace, who I believe actually have very, very great fixtures. And I've actually put my best fixtures down here below, which we'll also go through along with this fixture ticker. But just wanted to cover the teams so that we can see which teams are actually have the best fixtures and which one have the worst fixtures, so we know who to really avoid. So I would say really that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, top 5, and then I would then include as well Newcastle as well as a team, mainly because I feel like they're also in form. I mean, I could have easily just put Newcastle, Liverpool in the bottom here as well as my best fixtures, but I just feel like I think that's obvious as well. I think Newcastle had a very tough start, and I think now they've really come together since maybe roundabout when Tonali started really being involved into the team as well, and that midfield is very, very strong. I think they're a team not to be messed with. So I would include them with their fixtures as well. They got a good fixture run coming along there, and they're more so in the middle of the table, right below Chelsea, who themselves as well also have good fixtures. But I feel like they're about to start going through their slump. But I have faith in Mariska being able to bring them back up. I think he's shown and proven that the team can definitely play at a very good level. So I think these past few fixtures for Chelsea could be a blimp, but I think they can definitely turn it around. I think Crystal Palace will be tough for them. I think they can. I think Crystal Palace will be tough for them. Maybe even Bournemouth. I think they can turn it around against Wolves. The Man City game will be a question. West Ham depends on, is Bowen there? Is Bowen not there? And there are other players as well. So I think, we'll see. I think let's go look further down, and we know which teams not to actually consider, like Wolves. We'll get into who are the hot transfers in and out, but definitely Cunha is one of them as well because of his ban. West Ham there with Bowen having an injury. I don't have the full update on that in itself, but I think he might be out, making them a lot less lethal. I mean, they're already conceding considering that Fabianski himself is also out. Areola's in goals now. Their previous game wasn't all that well. Ipswich had a good game against Chelsea and Arsenal, actually. So their fixtures aren't necessarily all that great, but they clearly have good performance in them. So that said, I don't think they necessarily will be an easy team to target. And that's what I'm looking at when I'm talking about these teams lower down. Leicester, I think they've shown as well that they can be strong. I think they're really strong at home, but they are still very vulnerable. So I think you can target them. Um, yeah, you definitely can target them because they still allowing a lot of shots in at the end of the day, you know. Brentford just not good away. At home, I still feel like they're strong regardless of their previous home defeat. But I still feel like they're a team to be reckoned with. They're playing Southampton this game week, so I think after that the fixtures are a bit tricky as well. But if you want to take a punt, then maybe you can go for Buemo in that team. Yeah, Arsenal's fixtures here, funny enough, I agree with that in the sense that I feel like this Bournemouth game is going to be a very tricky one, including the London derby. Derbies, anything could happen 50-50 regardless. Form goes out the window. And then they're playing Aston Villa as well. Yeah, I just feel like those are really going to be tough fixtures for them as well. So maybe from an attacking point of view, you might not necessarily want to be with the team because again, goals are going to definitely be spread out everywhere. So it's really hard to pinpoint who the goals are going to come from. They definitely will score goals here and there, but yeah, man, with Saka not there, I don't think they're going to be coming in abundance, the same way they were in last year's January. Remember when they came back from their winter break and they were just going on a rampage. So yeah, I think of course we'll all stay clear of Man City and Brighton. But is here. Sorry about that. Sam was just letting me know he's in the room. He wanted a feature. Cool. I'm not sure if you guys heard that. But yeah. So yeah, that's the table then. And like I said, I put together here down low who I think have the best fixtures. I think Aston Villa have the best fixtures, not just in this next term for January, but even going on. They're going to play Wolves, Ipswich as well, straight after the West Ham game. So I feel like long term, they're definitely a good pick. Crystal Palace have put themselves together and being a very good team performance. So I think they're also a team that, have some good fixtures considering they're playing Leicester, West Ham, Brighton at home. The Chelsea one might be tricky, but I think they can get through it as well. Fulham also have some really great fixtures. Their performance as a team isn't necessarily all that great. But I mean, you can take punts there. Yeah, you can take punts there. Liverpool is Liverpool. Well, what is there to say? Liverpool's Liverpool. I feel like you can go anywhere in that division, in that team, really, in all honesty. Yeah, so Newcastle, yeah, man. I mean, I feel the same with Newcastle. Again, they inform. Even their defense is doing well, in all honesty. So yeah, I feel like those are the teams we should really be targeting when it comes to their assets. So let's take a good look at which teams, which assets are coming hot in and out as well. Cool. So I think we'll start off with the strikers. Wood right now is the most transferred in, and I think that is a result of Cunha's ban as well, as you can see on the right-hand side there. A lot of people are still bringing Isak, and I think that's mainly because they're transferring Jackson out, which leaves me the question of who the third striker really is. And I think it's a good decision. I think Isak versus Jackson. Isak is clearly the winner there, also because he carries penalties. So I feel like those are really good transfers considering the fixtures as well for Wood as well are going to start looking good. They're playing Wolves this next game week. So I think if you're looking for a striker who's cheap, I think Wood is definitely the one. I think a clear one as well for Cunha replacement. So if you're wondering, well, there you go. Just take a look at who the top transfers going in. I think if you're looking for a differential there, I think then you can start to consider Raul Jimenez. Yes, his minutes are very limited, but the fixtures are still looking good. He's definitely going to be playing, and if the fixtures are that good, he might really just sneak some goals in there as well. I think another differential you can go for there is Cody Gakpo from Liverpool. He's been in really, really great form. So I feel for me, those are the transfer tips I have for you up front. Um, yeah, I think those players for strike force. I think another last person that could also be good is Watkins. The only thing really is his price point and maybe even his minutes, considering that Duran is out and will be back on the 15th of January for that transfer for that game. I think it's the Everton, and it's now a question of whether or not he's actually second fiddle to Duran, who's been scoring even when he's been starting. But the one thing that we all notice now is the fact that Watkins has penalties and he scored. So that might be a thing that really might make us say that he's worth the price now. So we'll see. He's got Leicester this game week, so a very great entry point. Yeah, that's my transfer tips when it comes to the strikers. Then when you look at the midfield, I mean, you've got Madison there being transferred out after a very hot spell that he had, scoring some very good goals. Saka's been transferred out. Surprisingly, Rodgers is also being transferred out. I say surprising because, yeah, he's got a too much ban, but one is going to be served yes in this Leicester game, which we all really wanted, but he will be back for Everton, considering that the ban will also be served in the FA Cup round. So replacements for them, I see Luis Diaz as a hot transfer in. I think a lot of people are still transferring in Saab because of the fixtures, of course. Maybe not a great entry point right now, but I think he is still a good transfer in. Another person who's also a good transfer is, of course, Anthony Gordon. Yeah, of course, because the team is in form. And then again, my punt that I was talking about being an Mbuemo, I think he's really a good pick as well when it comes to taking a punt just for this specific game week on penalties, playing against Southampton. Yeah, I think they can definitely get a return there. And that actually brings me back to the strike force and saying maybe Wisa's also a punt that you can actually go for. Yeah, maybe you can consider that. Going back into the midfield, Luis Diaz, as I said, he's somebody that people have been bringing in as well. So yeah, defensively, I think everybody is just moving to Trent, who, in all honesty, I don't think there's anything I can say when it comes to disadvantages. I think he's fully fit to be able to play for 90 minutes now, week in, week out. His movement on the field, the eye test, he's passing it absolutely, and then as well he's putting up the stats as well on the return. So I think it's only going to get better for them now. I think it's really a race to getting him before his price rises far beyond your reach. So I think quickly move on him. I don't think he's risen yet. Probably rose just after the deadline, but I don't think he's had his second price rise yet. So yeah, definitely go and get him. So let us take a look now at my wildcard team. But before we do that, I would really love to ask if you guys would like the content. Honestly, the aim of the game is 10 likes for this video, and as well, if you're loving it, then of course hit that subscribe button. Really would appreciate it. This year in 2025, I want to reach at least 250 subscribers. That's what I want to reach. I'm striving towards 500, but by the end of this year, I have to hit 250, which I think is well in my reach. And I can't do it without you guys. And I'm here every week delivering 2 to 4 pieces of content just for you guys. So please, really would appreciate it. Cool. Let's get into my wildcard team, and we will start off with the keepers. So I've gone with Raya in goals, and I think I put Fabianski on the bench as well. So those are my 2 keepers in this wildcard. I think it's very reasonable to go for rotating keepers like and rotating in the sense of the fact that their team is also in form. I think that would be a Pope and a Cells right now. Both their teams are really good, performing in defense. I just thought, let me stick to Raya and Fabianski because put together they are cheaper than the pair of Raya and Cells, considering they are both around 4.8, 4.9. Another keeper that has been in form is Pickford. So he's jeez, man. Even when even when he conceded, he still cleared 9 points. He's just been scoring, bro. Points, returns after returns each and every single for the past, I think, 5, 6 game weeks. So Everton's on fire in the defense there. I think we all know it with some of those people having assets as Mikalenko and Ashley Young. So those for me are like keeper targets if you're looking for a keeper. Me myself with this transfer, this wild card that I've built for you guys. By the way, it's not mine. I've built it for you guys. For those who are on wild card, I would go for a Rhea and a Flabianski just to free up a couple of millions there for us. In the defense, I have gone for 5 defenders, of course, and information I'm playing here is 3-4-3. I'm going to stick with Gabriel. Of course, I think his aerial threat is formidable. I don't think it's something we can play with. Arsenal still putting up really good defensive numbers, so I think they can definitely keep clean sheets in the next few games that are tough, though. But yeah, I think he's still worth it as well. Double up Arsenal defense. Robinson there, definitely because of the good fixtures they have. He's playing Ipswich at home, and then he's also backed up by Aina in the Wolves defense there. I'm going to go through the team and I'll show you who I've got on the bench there as well, including in the defense. But I think as well, just touching on Aina and Nottingham Forest, they got guys. These guys are top 4 right now, and wouldn't be surprised if they actually clinch a European spot, and Conference League, Europa League, and maybe even Champions League, depending on what how the rest of the other teams perform for the rest of the season. So I think Aina, honestly, deservedly. Yeah, you can go for a Milenkovic, who's got a very good aerial threat there as well. Doesn't necessarily return as much as Gabriel, but I think he is a lot cheaper right now than Aina, who has risen drastically to 5.2 from 4.9. So yeah, those are my choices when it comes to the defense. In the midfield, I think it's very obvious we'll have a Salah and we'll have a Palmer. Then the question becomes, who do we have along with them? Sa, definitely, I think, as like we said, they've got the fixtures, as you can see down below me. Then I think we want to have a piece of that action with Newcastle as well. And so I went with Anthony Gordon, because he's got a very good game goal involvement, really, when it comes to Newcastle's attack. I think another option there, if you want to have a cheaper option, is definitely a Jacob Murphy, who I believe has also risen in price now. He was 4.9, I think he's 5.0. So coming in at that entry point of what Ahmad and Enzo was as well. So yeah, they're a team front 3 who's definitely been in form, and I think you can decide for you and your team as well, which one do you think you could rather go for. I think Anthony Gordon for me is a no-brainer here. Just at that price point, he's good enough. So Sa attacking, Eze's been getting a lot more of the returns. Not a lot more, but he just got a return more so than Sa. But Sa's been looking really good on the eye test. He's definitely been on that attack and really contributing as well, just not necessarily being on the end of the assist or the goal. So I think he's still definitely worth it. And I think in that case, he's the cheaper option. I think Eze 6.6. So depending on you and your team choice as well, you can go for either Eze or you can go for a Sa. I just feel like Sa's minutes are a lot more nailed right now. Eze is a bit injury prone, so I just wanted to go for somebody who I know in terms of minutes is a lot more secure. So that's where my decision came with between Sa and Eze. But Eze is definitely a valuable asset considering that he's still on set pieces, and I believe he should also have penalties as well. I know that Hughes also has been taking a couple of set pieces, but I know that Eze is still a lot more involved in those set pieces as well. So I think it really comes down to your decision. For me, the minutes really just made it the decider for me for Sa. So let's take a look at the strike force, and bam, the strike force there is Isak. I think another obvious one. And then I've got Wood there as well, along with Watkins, as I mentioned, who has a very good entry point when it comes to some games as well, playing Leicester and then Everton, and then he's playing Arsenal at home, which I think will also be a tricky game. Um, then Wood is playing Wolves this game week. I think having come off scoring the previous game week, we're hoping that that would kind of really help him continue. Um, yeah, so I feel like it's a no-brainer. If you're taking out Cunha, you can definitely have Wood there. And then with Watkins, again, it really depends on your team value. You know, do you have the money to go for a Watkins? You can stick with a Nicholas Jackson. Um, Look, he's been blanking, yeah, absolutely. But I think, if Watkins hadn't scored this previous game week, I don't think a lot of us would be going there. Despite the good fixtures, I think a lot of us would really be in the middle of, who the hell do we pick? Again, remember, as I mentioned, Cody Kakpo is an option really for you guys as well. 7.1, 7.2. So I think that's really a good, cheaper option than Watkins, considering his team is also in form. Um, yeah, yeah, considering his team is in form. So definitely you could go for a Cody Gakpo. Then let's take a look at my defense, my bench. I also went with a Munoz, who I put on the bench here because he's playing Chelsea, but of course he's got great fixtures there, so I double up on Crystal Palace. And then I also got a Hall, which completes the triple up for Newcastle. I just put him on the bench because of a Tottenham who could grab a goal at the Tottenham Hotspurs stadium, and then I've got Rodgers there because because he's got a couple of few games which are good before and after that Arsenal game as well. So yeah, that is the wild card that I put together for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. Would you guys include Trent here? Would you downgrade from Watkins down to Gakpo, and also upgrade to Trent in the defense? Let me know what you guys think. Really, this is for you guys. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Honestly, I've got some more great content for you guys. If you want to see what my transfer plans is, then you can check out my transfer plans over here in this content below. Please remember to hit that like button and also subscribe. Really would appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.